Hi everyone, today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to be exploring the world of gemstone legends through a food review. As some of you may know, I am living in the Netherlands, in the city of Amsterdam. And in this city, actually, in one of the most visited areas, the museum area, is a restaurant called Taiko. And I've noticed the restaurant since about a year ago. Um, and I've always kind of wanted to go, and this was really my first opportunity. So I thought it would be really fun to share it with you guys. This restaurant, again, is in one of the most popular areas in town called, well, I don't know if it has a name. Yes, it does. It's in the museum quartier, next to the Rijksmuseum, or very close to it, also very close to the Van Gogh Museum, or as people pronounce it here, Van Gogh Museum, which I know sounds like you're gagging twice around saying a word which describes a part of the male body, but that's how it is. Um, and so we're just gonna get right into it. So, actually, I should say that for those of you who do not know, I am from Thailand, and I, um, there's no really, there's no good way of saying this. It makes me incredibly arrogant when it comes to food. I always say Thai people understand food. Admittedly, not everyone. The person I ate with today definitely does not understand food, but I like to believe that I do. And um, of course, Taiko is the name of one of the most well-known characters in Gemstone Legends. He's the sumo guy that people love or they love to hate, and I always think it's hilarious how passionate some people can be for or against him. And Taiko the restaurant is a contemporary Asian restaurant which has a concept of using local ingredients, so Dutch ingredients, to make Asian flavors. And when I was in London a couple of weeks ago, I had the opportunity to go to a couple of restaurants which did it the other way around. I won't mention their names, but I thought it was crap. Because, Asian food is not about having the best ingredients necessarily. It's about making the most of those ingredients, combining lots of very different, kind of contrasting flavors, textures to um, basically transform the dish into something that's completely new. Whereas European food, especially kind of the French stuff that is very popular now, is more minimalist, where they really try to take very nice ingredients, fresh ingredients, or something. I don't really know. Good stuff, they say, and do very simple things with it to showcase the quality rather than kind of they would claim hiding behind spices, sauces, all of the stuff that everyone else likes to do. It's actually very political, very interesting if you want to read up on why European food gravitated towards French minimalist cuisine rather than very heavy on the spices, because of course Europe ran a global spice trade. But to kind of get back on the topic, so I had the opportunity to come here and try the 7-course tasting menu, the regular 7-course tasting menu, not the vegetarian one. They do have an a la carte option as well, but we didn't look at it. It was my first time coming to this restaurant. I was really excited to see what they had on offer. The first course was actually a Thai inspired course, and I thought it was amazing. They had 3 different things. So the first one was like a take on a spring roll. Some kind of radish was used to contain some like very spring roll like filling. Put on a bed of shaved ice to keep it cool. I thought that was quite interesting play on temperatures, but what was really amazing to me was they got the flavor exactly right. I've never had such an authentic spring roll flavor outside of Thailand, and some places in Thailand don't even make it as good as this. And the second part of the first course was this Panipuri, which is actually an Indian snack, as I understand, but it was filled with something that was very evocative to me of a Thai red curry, a Penang curry is what we kind of call it. It was made with crab, and there was also sweet corn in it, and that's very unusual. We don't have Penang crab. It's more typically done with prawns or pork or chicken, but I guess this is part of the innovation, I guess. I thought it tasted really nice, very interesting. And the third part of the first course was langoustines in like a curry sauce on top and some kind of seaweed beneath it. I thought that the langoustine tasted great, really fresh, and I really appreciate the nod to the fact that Thai food has prawns everywhere. The only thing I would say was the temperature was pretty jarring, kind of coming from the first one on the ice, the second one that was also cold, and this one was actually warm. But the flavors were absolutely amazing. One of the best, if not the best, executions of Thai flavors I've ever had outside of Thailand. I should actually mention that we didn't opt for any alcohol this night, so that's why you won't see it. But the restaurant does have a wine pairing option and a sake option, so it's available if you ever have the opportunity to go. The second course is a sushi, sashimi kind of course featuring tuna and yellowfin. And even though it's just 2 types of fish, they do take each of the items from different parts of the fish so that they taste really different. Like especially with the tuna, I felt the sashimi one was a little bit more firm. The one inside the maki was probably the most tender, and for me, my favorite. You can see that it's a little bit lighter in color as well. And with the seaweed, it was super fragrant. It was probably my favorite part of the entire course. But the tuna nigiri itself, that tuna was really, really tender, kind of just like fell apart in my mouth. So, really great. The yellowtail I thought was also really good, but personally, the tuna did it for me. And I really appreciated that they actually did use really good ingredients in this case. They used real wasabi. They made their own pickled ginger as well, which was really nice. And they had their own soy sauce, which I think it makes them look cool. But I mean, it is just kind of soy sauce. The third course was again Japanese inspired. Actually, I think they're all Japanese apart from 2, which is the Thai one and the next one. But this one was black cod marinated for 2 days in 2 types of miso, and it has like kind of stringy, a special kind of mushroom on top of it, and a little piece of onion on top of that. And that came in a leaf that I think it was cooked in. For me, the cod was beautifully soft and tender. That was really great, but I didn't really understand, um, how the two different types of miso fit in. I thought that, um, yeah, maybe it would have been nicer if they could have made those two flavors distinct somehow. And I'm not really sure I understood the onion and the mushrooms. I really like mushrooms. I think they taste great and the texture is great, but I'm not sure that they really were cohesive to me. What I think might have been more interesting is maybe if they had made like a bed of mushrooms and wakame seaweed beneath the cod, and if they'd had like one type of miso on the cod, another type of miso on the bed underneath, maybe I would have understood that. I'm not sure they really needed the onion. Maybe a pickle could have worked better. I know Japanese food has loads of different types of pickles. And what else? Did I have another idea? I thought this is like very um bourgeois, but they could have done like a miso foam if they wanted to go full on miso. And the fourth course is the one that I said is not Japanese. It's actually Chinese inspired, according to them. It's lamb, sous vide lamb. Um, kind of, well, they have two pieces of it. One piece is a little bit crispy, and okay, lamb kind of like two ways, but they have three pieces, and then they have a dumpling filled with lamb as well. I think that what they're trying to do with the um kind of the lamb steak is actually to evoke Chinese red pork. And once that clicked in my mind, it was really clear that this is what they were aiming for, which I thought was a really interesting idea. It's actually a very Dutch course in a way. It's just kind of like a lamb steak. Um, so it's not very innovative there. I thought it was interesting that they tried to evoke pork because that's a little bit of a downgrade from lamb to pork. But I get that that is conceptually interesting. The only thing is, it wasn't super tender. I mean, it was very tender for lamb, but I've also seen really tender red pork. Um, I have seen red pork, which is kind of on the cheaper side, which is done on the streets of Bangkok, and it's not very soft, but it's really thinly sliced, so you don't really notice it. Um, for me, something just fell flat there. I know, like cognitively, it's it's pretty nice, but for me, it just didn't have the wow factor somehow. Um, yeah, nothing to complain about with the vegetables. That was all nice, and the sauce was nice, but yeah, something I can't pin it. It just wasn't that special for me. Now, fifth course was another sushi course, this time a Wagyu sushi course with A5 Wagyu. So I was pretty excited. They had three pieces. One was like a grilled nigiri. Um, Second one was like a, what do you call it? A Wagyu tartar on top of like some rice with cucumber around it. I think it was sesame sauce on top. And then the third one was a Wagyu tartar wrapped in another piece of Wagyu. And actually, I really preferred the grilled one. I thought that was very tender, very fatty, but it also had the wonderful fragrance. I'm not speaking properly. Fragrance of being grilled. Now, the fifth course, so we're no, sorry, sixth course. So we're getting towards the end. So they're both now dessert courses. The sixth course was a shiso ice cream with strawberries and rhubarb and a little bit of kind of like a strawberry puree kind of sauce. I think this was really interesting. A more typical combination, at least that I would have expected, would have been something like strawberry and mint. So the shiso leaf is definitely refreshing, both in terms of taste and in terms of the idea itself. I thought the rhubarb was actually really delicious. I normally don't like rhubarb so much, but this was prepared wonderfully. It was really sweet. It was just a tiny little bit tart. The only problem that I have here is I don't understand what the leaf is on top of the shiso ice cream. It's actually more of a sorbet. I don't think it was really cold enough. It started to lose shape very quickly. And there was also like a little bit of vinegar kind of between the sorbet and the strawberry. It was extremely tart and it threw me off. I don't think it really needed that. The rhubarb was enough, in my opinion. Apart from that, actually, a real highlight, I think, of this meal, I think it was so surprising, so refreshing, very original. Really liked it. I actually liked it more than the final course, which is also a dessert. And the final course was this this chocolate, very chocolate heavy thing. So it had chocolate mousse at the bottom. It had a raspberry sorbet on top. It had like a chocolate meringue like bark. That's kind of what you see. And also kind of like a chocolate, almost like a biscuit, which is forming the kind of the sakura branches. And they had like a, I guess, some kind of white chocolate type of thing making up the sakura flowers. They had these crispy caramel bits, which you also see there, and some dark chocolate powder, which is a little bit salty and you see sprinkled. For me, this was okay. I should start with a positive. Um, the other person who was sitting across from me actually really loved this course. They thought it was the best course of the entire meal. For me, I am really happy for them, but that just proves that they don't understand food. Yeah, well, not all of us are born lucky. So my issue was that fundamentally the raspberry sorbet is very light and the chocolate mousse is very heavy and dense, at least the way that they made it, and it did not go together at all. I think that I would have liked something a little bit more creamy for the sorbet. First of all, should not have been a sorbet, should have just been an ice cream. They could have gone with like a raspberry ice cream that was quite creamy. What I would have actually really liked to see is something more typically Japanese that you don't really see outside of Japan. I remember when I was in Osaka, like, yeah, a couple of years back, I had some really good like soy ice cream, sesame ice cream. Those are really creamy and actually quite light. They taste amazing, and I would have really appreciated one of those flavors. Like, soy is so typically Asian and quite unfamiliar to people, I think, outside Asia, because the soy milk that you get, by the way, is like really terrible, horrible, fake soy milk. It's not supposed to smell like vanilla, it's supposed to smell like soybean. So the smell of soybean for me is wonderful, and it would have been so great to see that. And instead it was this raspberry sorbet that was nice on its own. It actually would have worked with the previous dessert as well. The texture and the density for me just didn't go here. The chocolate meringue bark was not done as well as it could have been, in my opinion. It felt very cheap somehow. I don't know how to explain, but I would have preferred like a thicker, richer, maybe a sweeter meringue. Maybe bark wasn't, the right medium for it, because bark is kind of thin by nature, and with such a heavy mousse, I think a bigger meringue would have balanced it out better. So, maybe if they really wanted the bark, they could have gone with chocolate shards, dark chocolate shards. Could have gone really nicely. They could have gone maybe white chocolate as well, maybe white chocolate matcha. Yeah, don't get me started on matcha. I really love matcha. They could have done matcha ice cream as well. Um, or if they wanted to go for meringue, then go for really big, fluffy, thick meringue. It does, okay, not like huge, but they could have done like the size of your thumb, something like that. I think that would have been really nice. Um, the flowers, okay, I would have preferred it for all of it to have been made with just solid chocolate. I didn't really like the branches, and I'm not sure I understood the dark chocolate dust, the salty with the raspberry with the mousse. It was all a little bit out of place. I think they wanted to do like a salted caramel thing, but for me the caramel wasn't really necessary. It felt a little bit like they're just doing a lot of classic dessert elements. um Maybe it just didn't feel very Asian to me. Maybe that's the thing. It's just kind of a lot of typical European desserts that you could find, um, on any menu almost. They've just made sakura blossoms on it. So for me, personally, not my favorite. But as I said, the person I ate with thought this was amazing. So just goes to show some people can be so wrong. So that's the 7 courses. For me, as I said, I really liked the first one, the nod to the Thai cuisine, superbly done. Also, the second one with the sushi, really, really liked the tuna there, and also really liked the first dessert, the combination of the shiso with the strawberry and the rhubarb. I think it was a really good dinner. The service was really good. The ambiance was also good. Location was great, and I think that definitely plays into it. Also, just want to end with, we got these little fortune cookies at the end, and I really loved mine. So that says, rather be someone's shot of whiskey than everyone's cup of tea. I thought that was cute and a little bit funny. Well, so this has been Taiko, a restaurant, and I think in a way a must visit for any one of you if you're in Amsterdam at any point. Taiko is such a recognizable and iconic character. He was, you know, the whole meta at one point when Charge Set gave you mana at the beginning of the turn. So if you're still here, maybe leave a comment. What would be the name of a restaurant, which is the same name of, I don't know how to word this question. Like, what hero name would you pick for a restaurant if you wanted it to be a must visit for other players in the game? Maybe that's a good way to say it. Like, or what restaurant name would you consider a must visit if you saw it on the streets, like I did? You're not allowed to pick Taiko, obviously, because I already took Taiko slash it kind of already exists. Um, But yeah, if you're still here, we would really love it if you could like, share, or subscribe, or leave a comment. That really helps. And I'm so thankful for you and your support always. And I'll see you next time. If you like these kind of food things, let me know and I'll see what I can do. Bye.